that you are between the most insanely crazy people in the world, trying to ship. If you are one of those companies like, I don't know, OpenAI, Mistral, Anthropic, of course you're playing one game, and you have to be the one to always keep the pace, while...
Hello, all. Welcome to another episode of the Innovator's Path. I am your host, Sparsh, and today we have an exceptional guest with us, Gabriele, the founder of PandasAI. Hello, Gabriele. How are you doing?
Hi everyone. Oh, great, thanks.
Great.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yes. For the people, for the benefits of the guest who do not know much about PandasAI, Gabriele, who's the co-founder of PandasAI. PandasAI is an open source library revolutionizing the conversational data analysis. It enables enterprises to connect with the databases, data frames, and perform data analysis with the help of maybe even just plain English. This powerful tool can be thought of as using pandas, but that too on steroids with the help of AI. Gabriele, who has been working in the software industry, has extensive experience working in startups across Europe. He is a serial founder, having sold several startups. And from what I know, Gabriele is always hustling, working on new, exciting, and innovative projects. His multifaceted nature and passion for technology and innovation makes him a true visionary. Today, we will dive deeper into his journey, the creation of Pandas A, and would love to know much more. Welcome to the show, Gabriele. We are thrilled to have you here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Hi everyone.
Sure. So, Gabriele, before we jump on to and have a deeper dive into our discussion, can you tell a little bit about your journey in the software industry and how you got started with the creation of Pandas A?
Yeah, it's actually probably two different questions. Like the first one is how it
Yes.
all started. I was 12. I was very young, and I was like, okay, I need to. Basically, I was a nerd and I was passionate about a couple of games that where I lived weren't very common, and so I decided to build a community to share this passion with other people in the world. So that's how it all started. And then I just figured that I was very lazy, and so I started automating everything, thanks to coding. So that's how it all started as a software engineer. And as I was automating and solving problems that I had myself, I just thought, hey, maybe I can, solve this same problem to someone else. And so that's how this entrepreneurial path also started. So it was kind of a combination, one step at a time. Talking about PandasAI, basically, I got in touch. Basically, I ran into um, uh, generative AI in 2019, I think it was. And but back then there was still GPT-J, so it was like the very early days. I think not even GPT-3 was out. But I figured that there was a huge potential about that. So long story short, I ran a couple of projects, let's say, and built a technology to basically a sales voice assistant that was kind of following a script using generative AI and text to speech and speech to text, and it was kind of simulating a call. There was some delay back then, but still was quite decent. Then later on, I went in a more B2C project, and that was about what I call the first wave of generative AI. So this kind of Jasper, copy AI things. We were very vertical on text,
Yes, yes,
basically
and
prompt.
sorry to interrupt, but like even for me, I think I've been in this field from that time only. And when the GPT-3 was out, I think somewhere in around 2020 or something, and then there was a wave of Jasper, copy and everything, and at least over the social media, these things were reeling, and people were saying that AI is going to change the world. Even I went all in on this thing, and really, I know the wave was within each and every person you talk to, they are building something in this space. Yeah, please, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, please continue.
Yeah, no, it was like crazy times because when we started, it wasn't that common. There was like Jasper and Copy AI pretty much. But then at some point when we started, we went vertical on email marketing. So we were generating, the whole end-to-end funnel, email funnel, and social media thing. So just starting from a prompt, it was generating the whole campaign. But then at some point, it was September 2022, and it felt like every single day there were like 10 launches on Product Hunt of very similar, if not identical products. And so at some point, it was clear that we had to, either pivot or sell the company or something like that. And what was very clear to me was that there was not enough room in the B2C industry. I mean, it was super crowded, super low defensibility. And so I started searching for something more defensible, so B2C. Started exploring it with banks in particular, banks and insurances. And I just figured that it's insane how, you know, um, old style, most of their processes are when they have to deal with data. So they have this spreadsheet here and there all around. I mean, there's one part of the banks that are super smart. They have very well structured processes. But there's the other part, the 90% of people working with Excel only. And I thought, okay, this is very old school. I want to disrupt that. So that's pretty much the ancient parent of PandasAI came out of this problem space that I was exploring. Um, the problem with banks is that their sales cycle are super slow. So I really needed to validate faster, and so that's how I said, okay, I just want to give it to everyone, so that everyone can play around with this amazing technology, and so that's how PandasAI was born in a nutshell. Maybe a long nutshell, but yeah, it's still a nutshell.
Sure, sure. That's definitely very interesting to hear your take on this and how the journey unfolded. One of the curious questions I have on the things that you told is like, even for the banks and the different financial industry or whatever the companies dealing with data, we think there are so many of the problems, and even in the Excel, these companies solve a lot of problems. So, what exactly problem did Pandas AI target towards, or what the niche segment among all those problems?
Yeah, no, it's a good one. In fact, it has changed quite a lot as we were. I mean, since the launch, PandasAI is kind of shaping its own direction, which was kind of unpredictable, maybe. So in the early days, it was more trying to address low technical people, so junior data analysts and maybe some business analysts. But now it's becoming more of a technology to build conversational AI assistant, in particular with a focus on structured data, tables, SQL tables, and stuff like that. So it's changing direction based on the community. That's the great part of the open source. When you build for the open source, you're building for someone, and you're shaping the future together. So yeah, that's kind of the target that we have at the moment. So within banks, I don't know, because I think now it's very horizontal as a solution. It's not just for banks anymore. I think the most beneficial target is probably PMs, so product managers, that they know how to write some SQL query usually, but they just want to ask in natural language and get their answer right away without having to wait for the great bottleneck of data analysts that are kind of overwhelmed by a lot of the
Yes,
different tasks that they.
I would say definitely it might be someone that who has the knowledge of how things are run, but they do not want to spend too much time and efforts with each and every query that they or each and everything that they want to model to answer or the code to answer. So one of the things that I got to know earlier that you have been through the YC's recent cohort, and YC is in the startup industry is recommended or maybe thought of as the zenith of startups. So how was your experience different from you have been building Pandas AI for a while, I know, but how was your experience within those particular couple of short, I think 3 months, YC course is for 3 months. So how was your experience, or maybe can you share one of two special experiences you might have there?
Yeah, sure. I think it's one of the most intense. I think intense is the right word, experience, because intense is kind of embracing both the good part of YC and the bad part that no one talks about. The good part is that you are between the most insanely crazy people in the world. Trying to ship the best products of tomorrow and trying to shape the future together. So it's kind of amazing, and you are surrounded by brilliant people. Your partners at YC are incredible, amazing founders. So it's you have this contamination, very positive contamination, and you get better as a software engineer if you want, or as an entrepreneur as well. So it's insane how fast you can grow as a startup and as a person. The other side of it is that it's insanely energy draining. Not energy draining for the bad meaning, but like it's really exhausting, let's say, because of course you have to push to go beyond your limits every single day, and it's exhausting, just to go beyond your limits every single day. But it's again probably the most one of the most amazing experience I've ever done. So I would do it again tomorrow, if I had the chance. So yeah.
And for the people who are maybe on the cusp of dilemma, if they got selected into YC, that whether they should go or not, just thinking about the valuation. If so, what would your advice would be?
I think it's, for example, we had already raised around before YC. So I think if you are anywhere from between pre-seed to seed, I would definitely do YC. It's like also because when you are an alumni, you are an alumni forever. So it's always with you. It's like graduating at some crazy, uh, you know,
Yes, yes,
good school.
and I believe like there are something which are invaluable, and YC provides maybe some playbooks or maybe the network of alumni. That's maybe some sort of money can provide, but it's hard to compare anything with respect to those things. And at least
Yeah, yeah,
that's very important for early stage startups, maybe in the seed or pre-seed stage where they are still building on everything.
yeah, exactly. But like, it's definitely an experience I would recommend to anyone that really wants to do seriously startup.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So by the way,
before the
like
Series A, after Series A, maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense. Probably it's already too late. But yeah.
yes, yes. So one of the things I wanted to maybe ask you is like, for example, even I think everyone knows on Product Hunt there are similar hundreds of being AI tools being launched every day. And with Pandas here, I think Pandas AI, it has been a lot of time, and you would have seen a lot of things like that. So how do you differentiate yourself with the different data analysis AI tools out there?
I think already being open source is already a great differentiation, because the technology is there, everyone can contribute and making it better. So that's definitely one. The other thing is that I think most of them are focusing on SQL only. So they write SQL queries. They might train custom models for that, but at the end of the day, SQL is just a subset of what you can need. So you might want to do, forecasting. You might want to embrace the whole Pandas and Python ecosystem. So it's a lot more powerful from that point of view. You can really be a lot more flexible, and you can customize PandasAI for your own use case. For example, with skills or training and stuff like that. So I think probably this flexibility is what makes PandasAI one of the de facto standards for such projects, I would say.
And I think like from what you have mentioned is Pandas AI maybe sort of give users an experience of end-to-end platform as compared to these other newer apps just coming into the place and solving very small, not even a problem, but like giving a solution to one small aspect of the bigger problems that we have.
Yeah, 100%. And then what is great is that you can customize your PandasAI and you can put it as part of your platform. You don't want yet another SaaS, yet another tool that is out there, and you have to use it, and you have to know how to make it work for your case and stuff like that, and you have to teach to your internal audience. So I think with PandasAI, you can just integrate it easily within your own tool.
Sure. So one of the things I wanted to understand, like not only in Pandas AI, but you have been in the startup ecosystem for a while, and I think other than building your startups, also you have a lot of experience assisting other startups also, maybe as an investor, maybe or whatever way you assist the ecosystem. So what do you think like are the one of couple of only few not I think the startups journey is full of. challenges, but couple of challenges that you thought was behemoth and still you end up solving.
Can you rephrase? Sorry, I
In
lost
the
part
sense
of
of
the question.
while we are building startups or other people are building startups, we face challenges, number of challenges every day. So, can you mention some of the experiences of the biggest challenges you would have faced, or maybe you have seen people facing, and how did you or maybe they overcome it?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think you know what, like apart from finding product market fit, which is always, of course, one of the biggest challenges for everyone in the startup space. But I think the biggest challenge that I don't think it's easy to fix is finding the right people to you know to join your path toward the success. Because it's very hard. It's like you have to find people that are like-minded, so startup oriented, but those people usually want to run their own startup. So it's kind of a unicorn already to hire the right person from that point of view. So I think this is, in fact, the most undervalued yet always present challenge whenever you run a startup. Because every problem can really be fixed if you have the right people. And so, yeah, I think it's about people. The other aspect still about people is a lot of founders, in my opinion, they do this mistake of raising funds for the sake of raising. Like, oh, I can raise 5 million, 10 million. I just raised. And then, since they have all this money in the banks, they just want to justify that they raised this money, and so they start hiring people like randomly. Just, oh, we need to be in 20 software engineers, and there's no purpose of being 20 software engineers until you clearly know where you're heading and how you become the next billion company. So, in my opinion, I think some of the founders should be more careful when they hire people, because hiring is one of the most difficult things, and creating the right team dynamics is not easy. So I prefer at this stage of a startup being a small and focused team with only the top talents, and then when it's time to scale, it's going to be the market telling us, okay, now it's time to scale. You have to double down and hire 10x
Right, right. So maybe one of
people.
the things, one of the cons of raising too much also is what, from my experience, what it is there is if you raise too much, then maybe when you have to, most probably people will raise another round also. And when they have to raise another rounds, they have to reach those particular milestones. And if you have raised enough so high in the first round only, then those milestones are too high for you when you are a maybe new founder or something. So that raising another round on a very good terms, it becomes very hard or challenging, considering that it was already a very challenging game.
Yeah, it's all a matter of valuation at the end of the day. So if you already discount a higher valuation, then it becomes harder for you to, reach the milestones that you promised to the previous investors. And so they won't invest. VCs are a network, so they know each other. So if the existing investors don't trust you, uh, chances are that no one else will follow with higher
Right,
increasing
right.
valuations.
And generally they say when it comes to the VC world, there are a lot of people with the money and that thing, but still at the end of the day, it's very small world and people know each other when it comes to their community. One of the things, one of the
100%.
very curious question that I want to ask and the other people so who are playing in this generative AI field. Currently, the pace at which the field is growing, the newer things that are coming day by day, it's immense. And it's like people are fighting with the best of the best to stay at the top of the game. Companies building products at blitz and at light speed and then blitz killing it. So how do you keep up with that pace? Like I would say it's one of the most competitive technical sports, if you can term it as that way. So how do you
I
keep
think
up with keep up in the game of playing with the best of the best in the world?
I think there are two levels here. If you are one of those companies like, I don't know, OpenAI, Mistral, Anthropic, of course you are playing one game, and you have to be the one to always keep the pace. While if you build on the top of these, solutions, you indeed don't have to worry too much about defensibility yet. Defensibility, in my opinion and in my experience, comes after Series A. So that means that you have to find a product that is solving a real problem, no matter whether it's AI, generative AI or not. You have to find a product that solves a problem. That's the first thing. And then by the time you are solving this problem to a big enough amount of customers, then you raise a Series A, Series B, and then you start thinking about defensibility, and then you start thinking about having the best technology for that specific vertical. So I would say for now, honestly, a lot of what we see in the news, it's just noise. And as a early stage startup, unless you are OpenAI or Anthropic or similar, you really want to get rid of all the noise and just focus on solving the problem for your customers. Full stop. That's it. Nothing crazy. It's as easy as that, in my opinion.
It's like sometimes people just complicate things because they heard about some news or some news article saying like this is the new groundbreaking technology and you're missing out. And people start building the FOMO, I would say, rather than building by the first principles or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of FOMO. Like there was a very famous CEO in the space that then has been, let go by a very famous company. I don't want to mention, but like basically what the employees of the company were saying is that he was like following the news and following the trend every single time, changing his mind. And this is kind of a schizo approach that you don't really want to have. You have to stick to your vision, stick to your product, talk to customers, and then build and
Hmm.
silently build until you're really solving the problem, and then you will solve it better and better over time. But that's the receipt, in my opinion.
That's very interesting to hear. On this note, I would like to maybe ask a curious thing that came up to my mind. That generally when we are building, we have a vision for something. And when you are building maybe Pandas AI in a lot of AI-based financial space or the data analysis space, how do you envision the future of conversational data analysis evolving? And what role, according to you, will Pandas AI play in the future of that data analysis evolving phase?
Yeah, I think PandasAI will be part of this, the stack that people will be using. I see in the future way more democratic understanding of data. So it's not just 1% of a company that understands how to manage data. It will be like 10% in a couple of years, then 50%, then hopefully 100%, because data is here to stay and it's becoming more and more important. So we need tools to make it more accessible. So probably Pandas AI is just the first step towards that. We need to democratize a lot more things like data pipelines, for example. Even training small models in a very easy way is something that we should have some auto ML that really works. Not the existing solutions, but a next generation of auto ML. So I feel like the data stack is going to be a lot more democratic. And what's the role of PandasAI is being like a sort of first mover in that direction. Then a lot of complementary tools will be the stack of tomorrow. That will be a lot of more democratic things. So language will become the next programming language, as also the NVIDIA CEO is saying for a while
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah, sure, definitely. And I really like the vision and the way that you have shared this particular thing. So, according to you, like, what's the biggest sets of new challenges that you are maybe currently undertaking or you envision to take in the next maybe 6 months or in the coming future?
I think the biggest challenges are always the same for PandasAI. So in our case, it's not about shipping new features, but it's indeed about increasing accuracy, making it faster, making it cheaper, of course. So I think the real challenge now is getting rid of hallucinations, having better evaluation pipelines in place, and having it more accurate. That's the point. So I know it sounds boring, but
Mhm.
most of the times it's it's
It's a
just
boring stuff that's really the nuggets of wisdom, you can say.
yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, it's not funny every day that you wake up and you say, "Hey, I'm gonna ship this new feature." Yeah, this is definitely something that is exciting,
Hmm.
but in reality, what really works is what you spend a lot of time making it better. look at like yeah, very it's slow and steady. That's what really matters.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Right, that's very interesting to hear. So, for the listeners who are listening to us, if they want to learn more about Pandas AI, or if they want to get in touch with you, can you share like what's the best way to get to learn or maybe try the hands on Pandas AI, the first thing where they can learn more?
yeah, I guess like they can start definitely from the repo on GitHub. And we also have a Discord server, so there's the whole community is in there that can support. We can also support, and then yeah, there's the documentation which is pretty decent. I'm not saying is perfect yet, but like with such a fast changing environment, it's hard to keep the pace all the time. But I think it's quite decent. So you can definitely go from 0 to 1 with PandasAI with just the docs. And then there is a 10 minutes to PandasAI. It's a Python notebook that you can play around with. It's like a guided tool from um, being a pro in 10 to 20 minutes of PandasAI. So I would definitely start from there. Then there will be definitely more advanced use cases that you will have in mind, and then it's gonna be more of a adage to figure out how to integrate. But yeah, that's always like that. Software engineering is a little bit like that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And this was for the people who wants to use Pandas AI. Maybe, for example, if there are some companies or some enterprises that want to reach out to maybe you or Pandas AI, what's the for their like bulk usage or the usage at a scale or something. So, what's the best way to reach out to you for those kind of things, or maybe you want to be reached out through email or LinkedIn is the maybe the best source.
Yeah, usually we have a contact form on the website. That's an option. The other option is definitely reaching out to me on LinkedIn or yeah, via email. I think also on GitHub is possible. So, but yeah, I would say the preferred channel is definitely the contact form on the website because it's just the traditional way. But I mean, uh, nowadays everything is interconnected, so uh, there are plenty of ways. Probably LinkedIn as well works
Hmm.
great.
Sure, sure, definitely. So that's thank you so much, Gabrielle, for sharing this incredible journey with us and insights with us. For the benefits of the guest, I would share the links to the pandas in the documentation in our link in anyone if anyone wants to connect with Gabrielle or someone from the pandas I would also leave those links in the description. And it was really amazing and inspiring for me to understand and learn about so many things. I think in the past couple of minutes, I think I've learned so much that I cannot put in words or something. So it's really a pleasure uh, to have you here, Gabriel, in our podcast. And we hope to see Pandas AI become the next OpenAI of the generative AI era.
I really hope so as well. Thanks a lot for the time and for the opportunity. It's been a
Sure.
pleasure.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone who has joined us for tuning into this episode of the Innovator's Path. If you really enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, keep building, keep innovating. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gabriel.